That was relaxing. Anyway, the thing today we're going to talk about is it's about serving. Yahusha gave us the perfect example all his life of what serving is like. Washing feet in his mortal body, one of the last things that he taught us the night before he died, in his mortal body. He showed us what humility is and what service to others is. And it was a custom from ancient times to wash the feet of guests and friends. And Yahusha took it to the extreme because he's the creator of the universe. And he washed the feet of his taught ones, his disciples, his students. At Yehukanan, or John chapter 13, verses 2 through 17, I'd like to read this little text to you. But we read about the most amazing final teachings that Yahusha gave us about who is the greatest of all. Who's the greatest teacher on the internet? Yahusha. Who else? He's in his people. And he speaks through his people. His Natsarim are here. And he's the teacher. He's the only teacher. His Natsarim are just empty shells with him inside. The creator of the universe was in a mortal body and washed the feet of his students. A similar case was done in 1 Samuel chapter 25, starting around verse 40. And this was a custom among many of the people in the past who lived in places where sandals were the most popular footwear. And this is what it says at 1 Samuel. This concerns Daud, or David, they call him, when he first met Abigail. Daud is a name that means beloved. And Abigail means my father is joyful. Anyway, here's the text at 1 Samuel. And Daud sent and spoke to Abigail to take her as his Asha. Now I want to mention that her husband was Nabal, and this word means foolish one, similar to Nimrod, Nabal, and he would not give the men of Daud any food, but Abigail pleaded for the life of her husband to spare him because he was a fool, and his name was, a reflection of that. And Daud spared his life because he wouldn't give them any food, but Abigail did. Well, he got drunk. Nabal got drunk, and the next morning he woke up and was sober. And Abigail announced to him that the men of Daud were right outside, and it really hurt his mind so badly that he stroked. He had what we call a brain seizure or stroke, and his heart failed after several days. And he became like stone until he died, and then he finally died. And this made Abigail available. But she was a noble woman. And Daud sent and spoke to Abigail to take her as his Asha. That's his wife. And when the servants of Daud had come to Abigail at Carmel, they spoke to her, saying, Daud has sent us to you to ask you to become his Asha. And she arose and bowed her face to the earth, and said, Here is your female servant, a servant to wash the feet of the servants of my Aduni. She wasn't just willing to wash Daud's feet, but all of his servants as well. This was a noble woman. And Abigail hurried and arose and rode on a donkey with 5 of her female attendants, and she followed the messengers of Daud, and she became his Asha. The attitude of becoming a servant is our lifelong example to live by. It's a way of life. Now at Yehukanan, or John, chapter 13, Verses 2 through 17, we read about an encounter Yahusha had at the supper before he suffered. This was the 14th day of the month. Quote, "And supper taking place, the devil, having already put it into the heart of Yehuda from Karioth, the son of Shimon, to deliver him up, Yahusha, knowing that the Father had given all into his hands, and that he had come from Elohim, and was going to Elohim, rose from supper, and laid aside his garments, and having taken a towel, he girded himself. After that he put water into a basin, and began to wash the feet of the pupils, and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded. And so he came to Shimon Kepha, they call him Peter, and he said to him, Adoni, do you wash my feet? Yahusha answered and said to him, you do not know what I am doing now, but you shall know after this. Kepha said to him, by no means shall you wash my feet, ever. Yahusha answered him, if I do not wash you, you have no part with me. Shimon Kepha said to him, Adoni, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Yahusha said to him, he who has had a bath does not need to wash, except his feet, but is clean altogether. And you are clean, but not all of you. For he knew who would deliver him up. So he said, you are not all clean. So when he had washed their feet and taken his garments and sat down again, he said to them, do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Adoni, and you say, well, for I am. Then if I, Adoni and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I gave you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his Adoni, nor is an emissary greater than he who sent him. If you know these teachings, blessed are you if you do them." Unquote. This is far more than a yearly ritual. It's a daily way of life. Put yourself beneath others and help them become better people in any way you can. And find them to find happiness and to do better. Help them become better people. The greatest among you is the servant of all. Before you're gone, the beginning is the most important moment in your life. You submit yourself in a pledge, in water, to wash yourself. But in a way, it's not you washing, it's Yahusha washing you from your crimes. The moment you receive the sealing of the name, calling on it for forgiveness of your crimes, you become the property of the owner and the creator of the universe. Multitudes are about to see the valley of decision when the day of Yahuwah is near, and the sun and the moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. Learn what you need to do before it's too late. Be immersed. Don't wait until you're 80. Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next exciting video. Bye.